Thank you. Honorable Mrs. Harini Amarasuriya, 8 minutes.
Thank you. There is no doubt that artificial intelligence and its related technological advances will have profound consequences for the way we live, the way we work, and how we govern ourselves. So this is an important discussion to have, to be able to discuss logically and rationally both the strengths and the opportunities provided by such technology and how we can safeguard our society while making use of the opportunities that the new technology offers, while safeguarding ourselves from its threats. In that sense, I feel that this important discussion and the motion that has been presented today has been framed far too narrowly, because the threats from AI and such technology is not just confined to one particular sector, but to many aspects of our lives. There is no doubt that artificial intelligence will have in the future, and even currently, will have great implications and can be used for economic growth, for improving our public services, for education, for facilitating language use between different communities and cultures. There are huge advantages that this technology offers in terms of what can be done with it. But at the same time, there is no doubt that there are threats that this technology also brings about. Job displacement as a result of automation is a serious issue, particularly for a country such as ours, where our employment opportunities continue to be restricted. It can also perpetuate economic inequality, because access to technology, as we know, is not equal. Technology is in itself, access to technology can be very unequal, and the more we rely on technology, the more unequal access to technology becomes. There are severe concerns for individual privacy. There are security risks. There is also a great danger that this kind of technology can amplify and perpetuate existing stereotypes, existing biases, that the way the algorithms work within technology can promote certain kinds of very unhelpful, risky behavior and attitudes. There's no doubt that all of these threats need to be taken into account. So as strategies, when we think about how we need to combat these threats, but make use of the opportunities that technology offers, because we cannot ignore the fact that this technology is advancing and this technology will be available in our society, whether we like it or not, and we need to make sure that we use the opportunities offered by it. It is important that there is education, that there is awareness about about technology and how to use it. There needs to be support for transition to this technology, and how we can minimize the threats that it can cause to various sectors. We need to not just think about policy and regulation pertaining to the technology, but we also need to think about how we need to modernize our laws and our regulatory processes in regard to the different areas on which this technology might have impact. For example, we may need to look at labor laws and how technology is transforming the way we work, where increasingly there are gig workers, contract workers, who have very fragile contracts, who are offered very little protection and safeguards, and we may need to look at these new and unconventional ways in which work is now organized with the advancement of technology, and see how our labor laws also need to adapt. So, Honorable Chair, there is no doubt that this technology is going to come, and that as a society, as a country, we need to be prepared for this, and we need to have the proper laws and regulatory mechanisms in place to deal with it, and that we need to promote ethical use of technology such as AI, and we suggest that such a discussion takes account of the broader concerns and engages in a collaborative discussion with those in the industry, those in government, the public, as well as academia, in formulating the laws and regulatory mechanisms for how we manage these, the new technology that is already with us. However, it is hard not to be cynical at this point with regard to the government's bringing this motion at this point. It is hard not to be cynical because this government has demonstrated over and over again that it disregards ethics, disregards regulatory frameworks, and politicizes any issue to its advantage. So whether such a government is capable of dealing with such a complex issue as AI and technology and coming forward with sensible ways in which to regulate this and in which the ethics around the use of technology can be put into any kind of usable framework is really doubtful.
Remember, you have 2 more minutes.
I also want to point out that the greater threat to religion and culture in our society doesn't necessarily come from technology, but actually from the politicization of religion and society and the abuse of religion and culture in the name of politics and for political power. I want to point out 2 examples of these such incidents, and I'll wind up. Yesterday, the government issued an apology for enforced cremation. The implementation of enforced cremation was also political opportunism, and the apology that was timed just before an election is also political opportunism. So, in that sense, that is also this kind of politically opportunistic behavior also poses a greater threat in our mind to religion and culture. There's a huge problem at Jaffna Central College where the appointment of a principal to the Jaffna Central College, a qualified person selected by the university, selected by the ministry, has been, her appointment has been suspended due to intervention by a powerful politician. Honorable Chair, you know that that's not acceptable. The lady who was selected as principal had all the qualifications, and yet a powerful minister intervened and got her appointment suspended and put someone unqualified in her place. So these are the issues that we also need to deal with. The way in which politics intervenes in our education, intervenes in our cultural and religious lives in order to, for political opportunistic motives, and in order to politicize religion and culture, which are extremely sensitive issues and need to be handled sensitively. So just as much as we talk about artificial intelligence and the ethical guidelines and frameworks for this, I am sorry, but very cynical about this effort, because this government has not demonstrated thus far any kind of principled stand when it comes to ethics, when it comes to regulatory frameworks, or any sort of dignified way in which we can engage in our political lives. Thank you very much for this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're watching the Lifetraveler channel.